Hey guys, happy Valentine's Day! So in honor of this lovely holiday, I'm gonna be talking about couples that I hate in literature. This is only gonna cover couples from books that I personally have read, so probably a lot of ones that you hate won't be on this list, and I'm sticking to just 5. There will be spoilers to some of these books, so just FYI going into this, I take no responsibility for that if you keep watching. Number 1 is probably one that a lot of people hate. It's very common, and that is Edward and Bella from the Twilight Saga by Stephenie Meyer. And I actually really enjoyed Twilight when I first read it. And so it took a little while for me to look back and see the problematic nature of their relationship. And most of that comes from the completely skewed power dynamics between the two. Having a huge age gap between the love interest and an immortal is not a new thing in fiction, but it would really be nice if these immortals were picking their partners from a pool of people who could at least vote. Now, I understand the allure of this very average girl attracting the attention of this beautiful, wealthy, ancient, powerful person, but that also begs the question of what the hell does Bella bring to this relationship? There's really nothing that lets her stand on an equal footing with Edward, no matter what she does. He's always going to be older, he's always going to be more powerful, he's always going to be wealthier, have more allies and resources. It's an uncomfortable situation if anything were to ever go wrong between them. There's also the issue that Edward doesn't really recognize boundaries. There's really no universe in which sneaking into someone's bedroom to watch them sleep is okay. Really, the imbalance of power could have been worked around if it was handled differently, but ultimately it's just Edward satisfying his own obsession at the risk of Bella's safety, and you can't erase that. And there's also the issue of sexual coercion between them, because Bella consistently pressures Edward for sex. So basically, neither of them respect the boundaries of the other, put each other in fairly frequent danger, and it's just a terrible partnership all around. Number 2 is Odysseus and Penelope. They are from the Odyssey by Homer. Most people have read this in high school. And honestly, my issues with this one is the expectation that Penelope is just supposed to sit around and wait for her absentee husband. You know, a couple years waiting, whatevs. But the girl waits 20 years for this guy to come back, and he's just been sledding it up with basically every demigod and goddess he meets along the way. I know it's not Odysseus' fault that he's away as long as he is, because shit keeps happening, but his expectation that Penelope has quietly waited for him for 2 decades while he has given no consideration to upholding his marriage vows just bothers me a lot. Like, Penelope is an intelligent and extremely capable woman who ran her kingdom for all those years while he was away, and she deserves better. Number 3 is also probably on a lot of people's list, and that is Ron and Hermione from the Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling. Now, I haven't read Harry Potter for a long time. I no longer own the books because I donated them, but even back when I read them, I never really agreed with the pairing. I never thought they were well suited to one another. I have nothing against the characters as individuals, but as a partnership, it just never seemed to me like it was going to work. I wasn't really a fan of most or all of the romantic pairings in the series, but I also didn't really agree with everyone being tidily married to their high school sweethearts with 2.5 kids. Now, if I'm being honest, I would say that I much prefer Hermione with someone like Draco Malfoy, had he had some sort of redemption and intervention early on. It always kind of confused me how Rowling would want to redeem Snape, but not the literal child who was put in a very dangerous and abusive situation. Everyone is a little shit when they're a tween. That's just how kids are. We're all dicks. It could have gone differently, and I really appreciated that he had a lot of ambition and intelligence, and I feel like if he had been in a better situation, he would have matched Hermione's personality much better. Number 4 is from a series that I actually really like, but I cannot stand the romantic pairing in it. So Maria V. Schneider is one of my favorite authors. I really, really loved her Poison Study series. But then it comes up to these puppies, and I want to hurl the book against the wall. So, Opal and Devlin in the Glass trilogy by Maria V. Schneider are probably my most hated romantic pairing in anything I've ever read. And it's such a shame because Yelena and Valak in her study series are freaking amazing. They are one of my OTPs. So, extreme spoiler alerts for these books. So, the Glass trilogy takes place after the first 3 study books. And in those ones, Opal is kidnapped when she's quite young. I think like 11, 12-ish. And she is tortured and abused by this magician who is addicted to blood magic. And we find out that this guy is Devlin, and he reappears in the Glass trilogy as the end goal love interest. Now, Opal has 2 other love interests in this story. We have Cade and Ulrich. Not much really comes with either of them. Devlin, as part of the plot, basically switches bodies with Ulrich via like a full blood transfusion and soul switching. And at this point, Ulrich has been dating Opal. And Devlin just kind of steps into this role. Opal has no idea that her boyfriend is a completely different person. And ultimately, this makes every sexual situation between them rape, because she does not know who she's consenting to. He also tortures her again in this book, but it's excused because it's just pressure point torture, which causes no permanent damage because that makes it better. It's just all excused away because he's addicted to blood magic. I'm like, I know people do shitty things when they're an addict, but that doesn't mean you happily marry them as soon as they apologize. Because at this point, her eventual husband has raped her, tortured her, kidnapped her, lied to her. It's a fucking mess. Honestly, the pairing just makes my skin crawl because they are so happy once it gets into the next set of study books. So it goes, there's the first 3, there's Poison Study, Magic Study, Fire Study, and then it goes through the Glass trilogy of Stormglass, Seaglass, and Spyglass. And then it goes into the next set, Shadow Study, Night Study, and Dawn Study. So Opal and Devlin are in those books, and they are a happily married couple with 2 adopted children, and I just want to throw up every time they appear. So, I don't care how happy they are now, there is no redeeming all of the bullshit he pulls in the Glass trilogy. I cannot, and I will not. Okay, last one. Number 5 is probably one I might get a little bit of hate for, but it is Han Solo and Princess Leia, but specifically in this book, The Courtship of Princess Leia by Dave Wolverton. Now, first off, I love this book. I highly recommend it. It is full of tons of badass ladies, and it's just really, really nice to have some more women in this franchise. I have read this book so many times. It was like one of my go-tos when I was younger at the library, and I got it probably at least once every couple months. So, in this book, at the beginning, Leia is not especially romantically linked with Han. Like, it's kind of understood they've had a thing, but there's no, like, declared relationship. So, at this point, she receives a proposal from the Prince of Hapes, and Hapes is an extremely wealthy star system. They could basically help the rebellion defeat the last dregs of the Empire, save millions of lives, and it's a very, very good option for Leia to consider. And the prince is actually really kind, he's intelligent, he's talented, he's beautiful, and he's in all ways an ideal mate for Leia. Now, obviously, Han is 100% not okay with this and spirals into like this crazed desperation. And he actually kidnaps Leia at gunpoint to prevent her from accepting the proposal. He basically risks both their lives flying very deep into warlord territory because he won a planet in a gambling tournament. And he's like, I will give this to Leia, she can recreate Alderaan, which is a very sweet concept, but also colonial as fuck. There are tons of people already living on this planet, and just because you won it in a card game doesn't mean it's yours. So, Han is just the worst in this book. He drives me up the wall. He ignores all of Leia's boundaries, he threatens her, he kidnaps her, he endangers her life and multiple others on a regular basis, and basically ensures the death of millions for his own selfishness. There are actually not tons of couples that I hate in books that I've read as far as like main romantic pairings go, but these ones, good God. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you next week with another vlog. Bye and happy Valentine's!